Drugs and alcohol. This video was inspired by a video that Mr. Jones did a few years ago about drugs that he had taken down from his channel. So I thought I'd kind of touch base on a few of the topics that he went over and kind of put my own little twist on it. So basically, as MGTOW, I have guys asking me about diet and drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, right? They're kind of curious, like, bro, is it okay to drink? Is it okay to smoke weed? Is it okay to, do other drugs and take depression pills and stuff like that, right? And basically, my answer to that is no, it's really not okay, and I'll tell you why. So you have to understand, there's a bigger picture, right? There's a greater agenda. There's an agenda for you to be smoking weed, like Mr. Jones said. There's an agenda for you to be drinking liquor. That's why it's so easily accessible. There's an agenda for you to be on depression medication as well. That's why it's shoved down your throat when you're 7 years old. The thing is, right? The people who run the society, they want to keep you in a state of brain fog and depleted energy mentally and just overall confusion. When you smoke weed, for example, it kind of puts you in a calm, numb state and kind of numbs you to everything that's going on around you. So we're living in times where we need to be enraged. We're living in a day and age where we're getting screwed harder than ever by the government, getting screwed harder than ever by these feminists, and being taxed to death, and we don't really have a lot of the freedoms that we used to have, as far as being men. So we shouldn't be relaxed. We shouldn't feel like we're content. We're not where we need to be. We don't have anything that we need to have. We've been robbed of so much, so we shouldn't be smoking and drinking and celebrating and having a good time. Same thing with alcohol, man. They make alcohol so easily accessible because it numbs your brain, it kills your brain cells, it essentially makes you dumber over time. And eliminates your critical thinking skills over time. So you're not questioning why everything around you is so messed up. Imagine if they took away all the drugs and alcohol and prescription medication, and everyone was forced to be sober 24/7. People would start to question why things are the way they are, and their testosterone levels would go up, and their rage levels would go up, and they'd say, what is enough? Enough is enough. I want to make some changes. I'm sick of living like this. But when you keep people drugged and high and drunk and on depression pills and confused, they're less likely to revolt. They're like tame sheep. They're like sleeping cattle. They're not like hungry, curious, sober wolves that are ready to take over, right? Same thing with these depression pills. These depression pills, all they're designed to do is keep you more depressed. I've never met a single person on this planet that's like, oh, I took depression pills and I stopped being depressed. It doesn't, there's no physical solution to a spiritual problem. Same thing with alcohol, same things with weed. If you have some sort of spiritual problem you're dealing with from something that happened to you in the past, there's no chemical or physical solution to an emotional or spiritual problem. You've got to dive inwards without any drugs or alcohol and truly tap into yourself and see, where did I go wrong? Why don't I what don't I like about myself? What do I need to fix about myself? No amount of drinking and smoking is going to fix that. If anything, you're just going to bury the problem, and it's going to grow and grow inside you and come out even bigger. That's not the right attitude you want to have. So like I said, there's an agenda for you to be smoking. There's an agenda for you to be drinking. Why do you think it's so easy? They say weed is illegal, right? And coke is illegal. But how come it's so easy to get your hands on weed? Like, I could go down the street right now and ask two random people, yo, man, where I can get some weed? And at least one of them is going to point me in the direction of a dealer. Why is it so easy to get my hands on this? Here's the reverse psychology that society plays on you, right? They make it look like partying and drinking and smoking is bad and it's wild and it's all the bad people do. They make it look like it's this taboo thing that they don't want you to do, and then they make it so easily accessible to you because they know you're going to do it thinking you're cool, thinking you're rebelling against society, when in reality that's what they want you to do. They want you drinking, they want you smoking, they make it look like they don't want you doing it so that you do it, but really it's what they want. Why do you think there's so many nightclubs and strip clubs everywhere? They want you going there. They want you spending your money there. They want you consuming this poison and being dumb, and not being able to have critical thinking skills so you can question your enslavement, right? Why is it easier to get my hands on weed and cocaine and alcohol than it is for me to get my hands on certain herbs from Africa that can cure AIDS? You know, there's herbs out there that can cure every disease ever made, and they're illegal. Some of them are illegal and very expensive and hard to get your hands on. Why is it easier for me to get my hands on drugs and alcohol than it is for me to get my hands on certain herbs that can cure, many diseases? What kind of sense does that make? That doesn't make any sense at all, you know? The stuff that's easy to get your hands on is mostly poison, and it's what they want you consuming. Why do you think there's a McDonald's on every street corner? They want you to poison yourself, right? They want you to get sick. They want you to spend a ton of money on medical bills. It's all part of a bigger plan. They don't want a bunch of conscious, rational people, who eat healthy food, questioning why they are paying so much taxes and questioning all kinds of things. They don't want you thinking. They want you drugged up and stupid so that you're less likely to rebel, right? So, another point I wanted to touch on. Here's the thing, another thing, right? If you are a man, and Mr. Jones said this in his video a few years ago, I remember he said this. He said, if you're a man, especially a man of color, you shouldn't be drinking or smoking anything at all. You live in a society that's trying to take you down every single day just for being a man, especially if you're a man of color. You can get arrested in 2 seconds on a false charge or a woman lies. Do you really want to be drunk and high when you're going through that? When you're going through some crap like that, when you're having people lie about you and you have a government that's trying to destroy you for being a man and take your resources and put you in jail, you need to be as sober as possible so you can properly defend yourself from these charges, from these allegations. You don't want to be in a weird mental coma from doing some kinds of drugs and alcohol, and then you can get taken advantage of, by the state or by, the legal system or whatever. You need to be as sober and healthy mentally so that you can handle this situation, to the best you can to prevent yourself from going to jail or whatever. If you're drunk and high and always, in a weird mental state, when they come for you, you're not going to be able to defend yourself as much. They're out to get you 24/7 just because you're a man. This is the society we live in. Women are a protected group. They can afford to do drugs and drink and smoke. They're going to be taken care of by the government. They're not going to go to jail like you are. As a man, if you even blink in the wrong direction, you just sexually assaulted 5 women. So you need to always be on your guard and be as sober as possible because you're not a protected group like women are. No one's looking out for you. No, there's no government tax breaks or whatever. If you lose your job, oh, we'll support all the single men. There is nothing like that. No one's looking out for you at the end of the day. So you need to be as sober and alert as possible. So when the BS comes to your door and they try to take you away, you're sober, you're intelligent, you have your money together, and you can form a proper defense. So that's just my view on drugs and alcohol, guys. I don't think you should be doing any of it, honestly. You need every advantage you can get in a society that's so unfair and out to get you. So yeah, guys, no drugs, no alcohol.